Hello and welcome to Trish Rock TV, an energy shift, changing energy, shifting perceptions. Our beautiful guest this week is Anne Aleckson, minimalist, peaceful activist, transformational speaker, author, and multidimensional channel. Anne is a powerful voice and presence in spiritual leadership. But what is it? What does it look like, and how do you step into your own leadership as an enlightened change maker? Anne will be sharing with us tonight more about the 5 journeys to becoming an enlightened change maker, with a focus on the 5th journey of the change and what that looks like for you, your community, your clients, and for the world. You've been hearing the call of your soul and its purpose, and now it's time to receive the next wake-up call as we move through 2020 and beyond. We'll be having a deep conversation tonight about the next level of personal development and universal change. We're also going to be having a quick chat about the Enlightened Changemakers, which is a group of people that Anne has brought together, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And I've got a series of interviews coming up with all of those people as well. So it is my great pleasure now to introduce Anne. Hello. Yay.
Hello, Trish. Thank you so much. It sounds like we're going to have an amazing conversation tonight from what you've just said. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And hello to everybody watching. Sorry we're a few minutes late. Technology had other ideas than our plans, so that's all good. So, Anne, I know a bit about you. We've been friends for quite some time, and you've also been a guest on here before, which is awesome. But take us through what spiritual leadership, what it is, and what it looks like, and how do you step into your own leadership in your spiritual journey?
Well, someone a lot more famous and probably much more intelligent than I am, I'm sure, said something once about how we don't need an intellectual leadership, and we don't need leadership in other things anymore. What we desperately need in this world is spiritual leadership. Yeah. And so when I think about that, I think about the premise of essentially my entire work and teachings, which is that you must be the change you want to see in the world. Now, they're not my words. Another very intelligent person said those. Someone much wiser, much, much wiser than I am said that. But it's what I live by, and I do my very best to embody that. And this is when I talk about spiritual leadership, and when I talk about enlightened change makers, which is my own concept, when I talk about that, what I'm talking about is a level of personal spiritual leadership that begins with you. You must be the change that you want to see in the world. So for me, the thing that I want more than anything in this world, and the thing that I believe is the end result of all the other things that we all want to have happen in the world, is world peace. And so for me, that means that in order for me to lead other people into world peace, is to do it one person at a time. And of course, that starts with me. I have to be not world peace, but I have to have inner peace, and I have to be constantly bringing myself back to that frequency and being in peace in the world. In other words, anything that I'm angry about, I need to deal with that, clear it up, because everything outside of me is simply a reflection of what I think and believe that I know about anything.
Yeah, and what we kind of expect to show up. But be the change is a real catch cry for you. And whenever I see that now, I think of you, because you have been saying that and teaching that for quite some time now. So this is a real step into self-leadership, isn't it, in that spiritual sense? You have to be the change.
Yeah. Well, you have to, lots of people will say to me, and this is why I call myself a peaceful activist. Lots of people will say to me, no, you must go out there and change the world. You've got to fight for homeless people, and you've got to fight for world peace and all of these things. But what I know, and it's just a knowing that I have. I'm a little bit claircognizant, so I know things without knowing why I know them, and I also know that I don't need to know how I know them. And so for me, I have a deep knowing that for me, and it might not be everyone's experience, but for me and those people that I teach and that I communicate with and that I collaborate with, we know that for us, the only way is to do the inner work first. You cannot see what you want outside of you until it is within you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, absolutely. For me, as I said, others, I get it. There are other people who think it's more important to do it for everyone else.
Yeah.
But for me and for many, many people, I'd love to say it's 100% of people. And it's okay if you don't believe that.
Yeah.
You must do it for yourself first. Spiritual leadership starts with I. Because when you move into being an enlightened change maker and into spiritual leadership, you move into a place of I is we. There's no separation. So when I do for me, I do for others. When I do for others, I also do for me.
Yes. Yeah, it's a strong concept, isn't it? That it actually took me quite a few years to get my head around that, but it just feels like a knowing.
Well,
now.
And I was the same, Trish. I teach. I speak these words. I say them. But I said them many, many times before I actually went and embodied them and became one with them and truly understood. So many teachers out there talking about oneness, but they don't live it.
No, absolutely.
And I mean,
think
I was there as well. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's part of the journey.
It is part of the journey because you get to a point, because I was the same too, and you get to the point where it feels out of alignment to be teaching and not being that you're teaching. And there comes a point where it's like, you need to learn what you're teaching and be more of that.
Absolutely. And now I want to just put a little caveat here.
Yeah.
Not even sure I said that word right. Basically, what I want to say is what we're saying here, for anyone listening, is not about you can't teach someone what you haven't already become. In other words, we're not saying that you can't be a money coach if you're not as wealthy as Beeb, right? That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that there's a difference between teaching it and still striving for it. And then there's another step after that, which is teaching it from a place of embodiment and actually living it.
Yeah. When you're living it, you can fully understand it then too. So it's actually easier to portray it to people.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I also think that it's easier to pull people into it from a place where you are so embodied of it that there's nothing outside. You don't believe in anything but that, so you don't see anything that contradicts that belief. So you can see in that person that they're already there, and you just need to encourage them to believe that. So it's teaching becomes easier. The work that you do becomes easier and far more transformational. Doesn't matter what kind of work it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because people, when we're growing and when we're expanding, especially into being more at peace with ourselves, we look for the people who are peaceful. And we kind of want what they've got, kind of thing. So yeah, that's when you start really attracting people to you, and it's like, how can you be so peaceful and happy when I'm going through the same thing and I feel like my life is over?
Exactly.
Right? They're really looking, So
and it takes us longer to get through the journey.
Yeah.
Than it does when we actually are peaceful on the journey. It's much quicker. And I'm going to bring it around to money. I don't know why for some reason, but I am. Because it's probably the easiest way for me to example it.
Yeah.
So you can have let's use a very specific example. You've got a bill to pay and you don't have the money for it. And this is going on for months and months and months at a time.
Yeah.
No matter how much manifesting work you do and all of those sorts of things, you're still always late with this bill. And then one day you come to this embodiment of peace and you'll still pay the bill late, but you'll stop worrying about it as much. And that will allow the money to pay that bill the next time to flow in much more easily. That's been my experience. And I would have denied it along the track because I just couldn't see the possibility of it. But once you do become inner peace around everything, so peaceful around money, and so therefore not having either a judgment of it either being lacking or in abundance, and just simply letting it be what it be, and deliver it to you, until you get to that place, you continue to think that's not going to happen. You've just got to keep going on the journey. Someone asked me the other day about something specific in my teachings and said, how long do I have to do it for? And I said, until.
That's exactly right.
And it's the same for this, what we're talking about.
It's exactly right. Look, I was in the same spot with all of that, and it didn't matter how many times my mentors told me just to, just kind of forget about it. Just forget about it and feel peaceful. I'm like, how can I? But, that was a real shift for me, as it was for you, that day when it was like, I get it. I get it now.
Bang.
And it's just incredible. And it really is stepping out of that worry of the universe not producing and getting into a peace of knowing that, it will. And it does.
It does. But you don't know that until it starts happening. So you have to be willing to just keep doing and doing and doing and keep making it all about you. Yeah, because absolutely. You and we are not separate, but always making it about you. And hey, if I see something outside of me that I don't like for instance, the fact that I can't pay my bill because that's everybody else's fault because whatever reason I'm using, I have to look at that and go, okay, so that evidence out there is showing me that there's a lack of money. So where in me do I feel like I am lacking? In money or anything else, right? It's not always about the same subject matter. And do that work on yourself. Allow yourself to go in and make friends with that energy if you have to. Don't try and squish it away and push it away because that actually keeps it stuck. So just continuing to do that work, notice what's going on outside of you and what's triggering you, and come back inside and do the forgiveness work, do the work around shame. Biggest problem is the shame. Do the work about not beating yourself up and just allow yourself to get back to who you really are.
And I think that is the work. And I've always said that the work isn't what people think it is. The work is to stop looking for answers from everything else to come and save you. The answer is to go within and change things based on what you're actually seeing on the outside.
Yes, and the way that I like to say that these days is go inside and just remember who you really are, because who you really are does not have lack.
No.
Does not have anything going wrong in their world, does not have any judgment of themselves or anyone else. So come back to self.
Yeah. I like what Byron Katie said in an interview with Oprah that I saw, and she was saying, so Byron, are you saying to me that you haven't been upset or angry or frustrated at all for 30 years? And she said, no. Why would I be? She said, I just need to see the truth of every situation, and the truth is, here am I. What's really happening? It's me sitting here.
What's really happening is that I'm thinking about something and judging it in some way.
Yeah. So
I'm not really familiar with her work, but I want to again just making a little caveat note for self and others, because we're the same, that you know, when people are talking about that and saying that, and they're living that, what they're saying is that they took the journey, and it wasn't always like that. Because sometimes when we hear people say like that, we just assume that they're either not telling us the truth or that they're special.
Yeah.
And they've got something that we don't have. But we're all one. Whatever they've got, I have as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I can see my technology is kind of a bit slower than what it's meant to be here too. So I'm sorry, and hopefully I'm making sense. So Anne, what are the 5 journeys that we take?
Yeah, okay, so thank you. Great question. makes me have to think. So essentially, so I coined this term enlightened changemaker, and I really want to first of all say, let go of what you believe enlightened means. Not to you, but to anyone watching. I had to let go of what that word means to other people. And I had to do that in order to allow it to be what it really is. We have
There's a lot of misconception, isn't there, about the word?
Absolutely. You know, people will look at, and I've had people say to me, "What the hell? How could you proclaim enlightenment?" And I'm not. I have moments of enlightenment, and sometimes I have moments that add up to hours. I might have even had a day where I had that for a day. But it's a momentary experience, and it only happens when you're in full presence in the now moment. And if you can stay in full present in every moment, that's what enlightenment is. Because you're in presence with yourself, with your breath, you're being who you truly are, which is, of course, the universe, no separation, one and the same. That's how I do my work, right? I step into I become one with you, and I could feel where the pain is. I could feel where the emotional blocks are. And that's how I do the work that I do. How else could I do it? It wouldn't make sense that I could do it, because I do it from anywhere, from with people all around the world. And people say, "Oh my God, I felt that happen. I felt that thing. My heart opened, or this or that." And I mean, you know that. You do that as well, as do so many people. What we're doing there is we're stepping out of the human separation consciousness, and we're going, "Oh, I'm actually one with." We're stepping into truly embodying oneness. That thing we talk about all the time, but we actually don't live in most of the time. So for me, when I talk about an enlightened change maker, that is someone who has the ability to simply become one with who they are, just be who they are in the world, and in their desire to be of service to humanity, because they know that humanity is them and they are humanity. There's no separation. To be able to step into anybody else's field and serve them at their highest level. You know, I go into work with people. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I can never say to someone, "This is what we're going to do in the session." Again, I know you're familiar with that as well, right? We can't tell them. We just know that they will have an experience that they've created for themselves. Anyway, that was a little tangent off to the side. So I have a concept called the enlightened change maker, and I've just kind of explained what that sort of person is to me. Creating change in the world by changing their own self first and becoming what they want to see in the world. And so for me, through my own 13-year journey, it's only a short journey, but gee, it's been a long journey. A short journey, but it's been a long journey. I took these 5 journeys, and of course I didn't know them at the time, and they're not a step after step journey. It's constantly evolving and moving, and you do a bit here and a bit there. But what I came to the conclusion that I went through 5 journeys, and it's certainly the journey that I take people through in my programs now. So the first bit is I am. So it's about really embodying what we've just been talking about who you really are. The second step is I activate. When you become one with who you really are, all of your innate abilities become activated. your third eye, your pineal gland, your ability to heal self and others, which you've always had. Nobody's missing it. But until we experience it and know it, it's kind of inactive, or until we have an experience with someone who is already on this path and they activate it within us. The third one, of course, is I create. Now, it sounds like it might be the law of attraction, but it's actually what I call beyond the law of attraction. Because, you know, I'm sure you've seen me ranting on my own weekly show about how what we're learning, what we know about the law of attraction now is just the surface level. It's
Absolutely.
so much more. And so, again, I mean, the law of attraction, it's not something that you do. And yet that's what we're taught. You've got to do a vision board, and you've got to do this, and you've got to do that. But you've got to be at the same time, which kind of contradicts the first part. But essentially,
it's just too much human in it, isn't it? Too much human. You have to do, which is the human part of it. Because as humans, we put that into everything.
Exactly. But really, the only thing we have to do is get out of our own way and let everything that isn't who we truly are disappear.
Yeah.
Which is lack and all of those sorts of things, lack and struggle and drama and fighting with the family, all of it. That's not who we really are. So when we can embody and get back to who I am and then become activated to that, then we get to create from a different place. And it's a beautiful place. It's a place of flow. And it's a place where, rather than creating vision boards and thinking about what you want to create in your life, you actually receive from your own greater self the vision of your future, the future that you are here to create and to live into. And then all of a sudden, everything just simply starts flowing. The people that need to be here to help you, the people that you need to help, everything just becomes, because you're one with all of those things. And when you know that, you stop pushing them away, you stop holding them away. Then we go into, so it's about beyond the law of attraction sort of stuff. And then we go into mastery. So I master. And that's about mastering your inner energetics, because we all know that we've got all these inner personalities that we've created through our traumas. And we make friends with them, and we soothe them and allow them to be what they are without judgment, without needing to push them away. We also all know that we have both feminine energy and masculine energy. And a lot of the problems, particularly for women, but also for men, but a lot of the problems that many women go through, particularly in business, is that their masculine and feminine are not healthy.
Not in a healthy
balance.
They're
not healthy. So they're either acting from a absent masculine and an overactive feminine, which is trying to do all the masculine's jobs, or they're working. Well, I'm not even going to say anything about they're working from their masculine, because that's an absolute myth in my world. A feminine woman does not act from the masculine. What she does is she turns her feminine into a copy of the masculine. So therefore she's totally unbalanced. So we go into all of that sort of work and really balancing all of those parts of yourself. And then we come into the bit that I wanted to share mostly this evening.
Yes.
The I change. So when you become the vibrational frequency of the change that you want to see in the world, whatever that is, because it's different for everybody. Some people have this great desire and goal and purpose to change the education system, or to change, like my sister, to change the aged care system. Whatever the desire is, whatever the purpose is, which you'll receive from your own self, not create for yourself, but receive. It's about becoming the vibrational frequency of that thing, so that when you go out into the world, no matter what you're doing, you vibrate that. And therefore you lift everyone else into that vibrational frequency. And everything you do creates that frequency into the world. So, for instance, when I am confronted by, I've told this story before, but it was a very long time ago. We've got a 3-story building over the road.
Right.
And one day, a young girl, she was 15, I think, 14 or 15, young Aboriginal girl, was preparing to jump off her balcony 3 levels up. And I happened to be, I came out of my driveway and saw her, and my son said, Mum, there's a girl up there, blah, blah. So we pulled up. At the same time, I'm having my human thoughts, what am I doing? It's not my right to interfere, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I went up the stairs, and I got her off the table that she was standing on, and I just stood there and hugged her. And before I hugged her, she was like just yelling, shouting, crying, talking about don't call the police because they'll put me back into juvie. All of it. And I just stood there and hugged her, and within seconds she had calmed right down. So by the time the police got there, she just sat and talked to them, and that had never been their experience with her before. So as I want to do afterwards, I sat and examined the thing. Why did that happen? How did she become so calm? And it became clear to me that it was evidence for me, that I was being given evidence that my vibrational frequency was getting to the place where I wanted it to be, because it was my desire to have that vibration of calmness and peace. I do also have to say that every single job I've ever had in my life, every boss I've ever had has said to me, "You're so calm all the time." So it's been my natural vibe anyway, but now it's expanded beyond that. So the change is about, obviously, becoming the change that you want to see in the world. Becoming compassion, becoming unconditionality. I call it that because I don't want to say unconditional love, because that word love has so many, everyone has different perceptions. Unconditionality for me encompasses unconditional love, unconditional joy, unconditional everything, right? So there's no judgment at all. No judgment at all. And in unconditionality, there is no good or bad. There's no black or white. There's no right or wrong. There's just this center place where it is exactly as it needs to be, as it should be. If it were supposed to be any different, it would be.
And you're now being that change consciously, even though you were I think a lot of people are already being the change unconsciously, but when you do it consciously, it's so much more powerful. And and of course, a lot of people get a bit frightened that to actually be the change and make an impact in the world, they have to do something life-changing and save a whole country or whatever. But you don't. You just need to hug that person that needs a hug, smile at that person that needs to smile, be the calm mother that the children can then come to when they and feel safe. You know what? It's being the change doesn't have to be some grandiose idea.
I absolutely love that you've just said that, Trish. I think it's so important, because back in the early days of the journey, sure, I thought I was supposed to be here to change the world. At that ego level, at that level of, God, that's so hard. How am I going to do that? But I had an experience one night when the greater me came to me and said, I was saying, what's my purpose? What am I here for? And I heard, world peace through inner peace, one person at a time. And it started to click in, I just have to work with one person. And then they added, a number of months later, they said, there's one more bit. I said, there's one more bit, and it starts with me. It starts with me. I've got to do it for me first. And it's so important, because when I talk to people about my purpose is world peace, they're kind of like, oh yeah, whatever, as if, you know what I mean? They think you have to be like Gandhi or Dalai Lama or the United Nations or whatever. But no, all you have to do is become that in your own self, and allow your family to experience you as that, and allow people who are angry around you to feel that energy when they're ready to, because, I think I was calm throughout my whole life because this has been my set point vibration. My soul came in with this. My physical body and my conscious mind had to catch up with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
You only have to do it one person at a time. You know, one of the very first things that happened for me before I recognized true oneness, I used to separate myself out from the voice that I heard in my head, the guides, the all that is, or the source field, or whatever you want to call it. Or the universe, let's call it the universe. I used to separate myself out from that and think there was that part and then there was me. And when I looked at when I first had those experiences, one of the things that I heard was that there are only 8 people in the world you need to work with personally. You'll work with many more, but there's only 8.
Yeah.
Right? And I was shown a spider web with 8. There were 8 spots on the spider web, and then out from each of those spots. See, my job is to change one person and then bring them into their enlightened change maker energy so that they can then be the change that they want to see in the world and start spreading that out. So it's that ripple effect. But it was this intricate spider's web that I was shown, and that I was told only 8 people. So, you know, whenever anyone comes to work with me, I'm like, I wonder if this is one of the 8. Usually I can tell, right? And of course, I've gone through many more than 8 now, and they were all doing amazing things. So I know it's just a way of looking at it that lessens the fear of it. Oh, God, there's only 8 of them, and I've worked with 100 people, so I've done it already. There's nothing I need to achieve because I've already achieved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just work on more inner peace so that I can attract those 8. It brings it back to you again. Yeah.
So you can do the 8 over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think it's fabulous. So for the people listening, what do they need to know going in? Well, we're nearly in the 3rd month of this year. Can you believe it? But what does this year represent? What can they really achieve energetically this year?
So much. We're really in, if I dare say so myself, we are really in the year of enlightenment in the way that I speak of enlightenment. We are really, and of course it's the people who are currently doing their work and have been doing their work and are familiar with these things and are conscious of what's going on in the world and in their own selves. So they're already on the path. Those people this year will truly step into that spiritual leadership of themselves first, and then they can choose to become it for other people. You can't help but become it because it just becomes part of who you are. It's the authentic self, and you can choose to then do it as a job if you want to, but it's not necessary. And of course, this comes into that whole perfect timing thing. You know, jobs are becoming redundant. For the future. So we're all just going to simply be our highest vibrational self, creating change in the world through our vibrational frequency, or living from our vibrational frequency, being supplied with everything that we need. We don't need to worry about how that's going to happen. Is it going to be a, only rich people will survive, or is it going to be that there'll be a universal basic income, which is an idea that I love, by the way. We don't need to worry about how it's going to be. We just need to become it in ourselves, whatever it is that we believe it should be.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a higher level of faith and trust within us, which is something I'm working on in me now and working with my clients on, because I feel that's with all the restructuring this year, we're going to have that. If we don't have that level of peace and faith and trust in ourselves and the universe, we're just going to fall in a big stressful heap, which then keeps everything away. So.
Exactly. We will continue to come back to looking outside of ourselves, seeing an issue and trying to fix it on the outside instead of trying to. So in other words, chasing a job that has income instead of being okay where you are with what you've got, giving thanks for it at all times, and then through that changing your frequency, which will allow more to come in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful energy that's coming in. It's just, we're really stepping into who we really are. And, that's the evolutionary spiral.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, and I think for a lot of people, more teachers are showing up, and because they're calling out for it, and that happens, as you know, happens for us as well. As soon as yeah, I'm ready for the next level. Oh, there's the person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've just released my new program this last week, and not just released it. I just started it last week, and literally, I create things as I go because so much of my stuff is speaking and using, transforming through the words that I speak. And so I think it started last week. The Thursday before, I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know any of that sort of stuff. But the Thursday before, I literally went into 4 days of massive change. I felt it. I'm familiar with it now. I've become more familiar with it, so I know how to just let it come through and not try and push it away, not try and make it more than it is, not try and figure it out. I just let it happen. So I had all the ascension symptoms, as people call them, and I had just this huge 4-day period where I had to become the teacher of the people who were turning up for this program.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, how that happens?
It is. And it's, I explain it by saying it's the law of attraction, the truth of the law of attraction.
Yes.
Because I'm over here saying to source, to the universe, or saying to myself, I want to be of service. Yeah. And I've got certain skills and gifts. And then there's someone over here saying, oh my God, I really want to blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So the universe says, oh, this person wants that. Oh, this person can supply that. If we just tweak it a little bit, let's put them together. That's how you do marketing when you reach this level, right?
That's
Truly.
Right.
I'll turn up if you don't even promote your program. I strategized about it, planned it, got a launch sequence thing happening. I had a challenge that I was doing. I did the challenge, but I didn't do any of the strategy. And then I contacted a few people that popped up in my mind because that's a clear indicator that they're part of it.
Yeah.
And I got more people than I thought I would. Not quite as many as I had hoped for, but I know that it's perfect. And it's just so easy. And this is how we're supposed to be doing business and how we will be doing business.
Yes, it's so totally different. And once again, that's based on trust and faith as well, and not the old, control kind of manipulation methods. Yeah, I'm just so over all of that now. So if somebody wanted to work with you in that program, I've got your page here on the little running thing, and it's also in the description. Is it best just to go over to Enlightened Changemakers page to see you? I've got here Anne Aleckson. Yep, they can go and connect with you there, and is that the best way?
Yeah, they can contact me there, or if they tag me in a comment on this video wherever they're watching it, it doesn't matter. I will see that tag at some point, and I will come and respond. Another thing is, I didn't create a sales page, no matter how much I wanted to. I just didn't end up doing it. So there is no sales page. When people have asked me about it, I've typed something out to them and provided them with a checkout page, and that's it.
That's it.
So it's just this is the thing that I really want to teach entrepreneurs is that it doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
It doesn't have to be the same way as everyone else. It doesn't have to have all the strategy. I say that, and I also say this. I had strategy. Yes. I was going to strategize, but I got a message, a very clear message. Don't do those strategy things. You don't need to. So that was part of my stepping into this next level.
Yeah.
Because I've always gone back to strategy before. Because it's what you do, right? We're so trained.
We are so trained.
Unlearn that.
Well, we're trained and taught in that because that's how other people supposedly get where they want to get. But once again, that doesn't work for everybody. And the things that worked for those people are not working now either. So, there has to be change. There has to be a shift. And, are the people that are going to come to your program and my program interested and drawn to that anyway? No.
No, that's exactly right, because they're also enlightened change makers. They're here to do it differently.
Exactly.
And so, like you and me, over the years, we've done the strategy. We've taken thousands of dollars worth of courses thinking that we had to do it that way. And we've found out it didn't work for me. And no matter how many times the coach told us that we weren't doing it good enough or hard enough, or we weren't following the rules strictly, we knew that it was not us. We might have fallen into that for a bit, but at some level we knew that we're here to do it differently.
It's just so out of alignment. I remember a couple of programs I did. Now, look, I did get some things out of those programs, but they're so structured that it was very cookie cutter, and there was no leeway to what I needed at the time and how I wanted to learn. And I think, you know, over the years with those experiences, I've changed a lot of my stuff around to be very flowing and individual, based on the individual and what they need at the time. And I know you do that as well. And because we tune into what people can't see, and we go on that direction.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
You can't have all of that written down and say, right, we're going to do this and then this and then this.
Because we're all one, but we're also unique individuals. But having said that, and I've gotten something from every single program that I've done. I've even sometimes just gotten the realization that I've got to stop doing this shit, right?
Yeah.
Or that I know more than the person teaching it. Whatever the thing, it was still a lesson for me because my self-esteem wasn't where it needed to be or whatever. Absolutely. There was one course, in fact, there's been more, but one in particular that changed a lot for me.
And sometimes you meet people at these courses, which is why you end up being there.
Oh, yeah, no, I love that. But I actually did do a course, and I followed it to the letter.
Yes.
But I intuitively went in there going, this guy, I need to follow it to the letter, and I will receive the promise that he's given. It was a $10,000 in 5 days or something. It was about 5-day challenges, which you know that I use quite a lot. But again, I checked in with my intuition, and it said, don't half-ass this one. Do it exactly as you're told to do, to the point of getting to the end, writing all the stats down and taking a photo of it and sharing it in his group. I'd never done that sort of stuff before. And I did. I had a $10,000 week.
So perfect.
And I was like, sometimes it does work if you follow the rules. But you've got to first ask your intuition or ask that greater self and be willing to trust yourself above everyone else.
Exactly. And well, you know, that trust, that guidance in you that you needed to do that. And but now you can do that, but you've got your own energy into it. So you followed the rules and learnt it, but you now put your own energy into it.
Well, exactly. And now I don't follow that same process. I just do straight lives onto my page for 5 days in a row, or for 3 days in a row, or whatever I intuitively feel will work for it. There's no more of that whole email system and follow-up emails, and I just do it intuitively. So on one day I might not do it that way, and the next day I might do it that way. All intuitive, because I'm the answer to someone else's need or someone else's desire.
And the people that come to you for these programs and to work with you are very intuitive as well. They don't always know it before they start, but they are as well. And so that example of trust and faith and really going with the flow, and I know I absolutely don't like that term anymore, but going with the flow to me is no resistance. Like, oh, this shows up. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, this shows up. Oh, that might be the next step. Let's try it. Let's say yes. It's that flow that, you know, really helps people really become their best version of themselves, which then it has that knock-on effect, doesn't it, to enable them to really be the change.
Well, the beautiful thing about it is that when they start getting evidence that they are who they think they are, they become more confident of that.
Yes.
So it's like a snowball.
Yeah, you know? Absolutely.
You've got to get that first piece of evidence first. So do whatever you can to get that bit of evidence. I think that's one of the law of attraction type teachings as well. You know, just manifest a butterfly.
Yeah.
And because you don't care too much about whether you get it or not, you'll get it, and then you'll go, oh, I could do this.
I know.
Which gives you faith in the teachings and gives you faith in your ability to do the thing, so you can move on to other things.
That's right, and it's only our level of belief, because as Abraham Hicks says, you can manifest $1 million just as easily as a butterfly, but we don't believe that it's possible, so it doesn't show up.
Yeah, she used to say about 13 years ago, you can manifest a button as well as a castle.
Yep.
So no, absolutely. You, in fact, you're not even manifesting it. What you're doing is you're allowing yourself to have everything that you desire, because why the hell wouldn't you if you're the universe?
I know, right?
If you're one with everything, then there's nothing separate from you. Therefore, it's all yours.
Yeah.
Everything you've got is mine as well, Trish, because we're one.
Yeah.
I might come over and get some. I'm just kidding.
You should read some of the Byron Katie work, because she's the same. She's like, when I had my enlightenment, everything was mine, and everything of mine was everyone else's, and I would just go into people's homes and
Really?
and they all just thought she was a wacko or whatever, but
so funny.
She lives that. She absolutely lives that, and it's just incredible. She gave away her home to someone who needed it.
I gave away. I attempted to sell most of the stuff, but most of it I ended up giving away. Like this guy who was just coming to Brisbane for university, and he needed a washing machine, and he didn't have a lot of money. So I just said, don't worry about it, just take it. I used to live in a larger house. I've become a bit of a minimalist in my life.
Me too.
In my life and in my thinking and everything, really. And the day that happened, when I had the awakening moment to that, I was in my house all by myself because my son was at his dad's. I had to go all the way downstairs to the washing machine, and it was a house on stilts up here in Queensland. And I was like, I've got all this space. What am I doing? And I thought, I've got to clean it, which takes time, which takes me away from my purpose. I just had this moment, and so I moved out of that house and into small apartments.
Yes.
I'm self-contained, and I'm a minimalist, and I'm also an introvert. I know I don't sound like I am, but I am.
I am too.
I love my own company,
Yes.
So it's amazing.
I think you get to that point where you've got that when you've got that peace in here, and you've got that.
You can be with yourself because you're not worried about the bad things you're going to think about yourself.
No, and you don't need validation from anything. I had a beautiful half an hour before we got on today, and just listening to the rain and the frogs, and then I came and sat in here 10 minutes before we started, and everything was still. I'm like, wow, I love this. But that drives a lot of people crazy. It's like, oh, it's quiet. I need to do something. And I feel that, the work that people can come and do with you will really bring them to that place of peace. And it serves you well on a daily basis. When it's not one day I'll feel that peace and it will save me, from something or other. No, it's an ongoing. Like you and I aren't peaceful 24 hours a day, right? But we know how to get back to it really fast.
Exactly, because we're human and we can be pulled out of it. Some bleep person can pull in front of me when I'm driving, and that will be really annoying. But what I've noticed about those people, and I wonder if everyone might pay attention to this, every single time they do, the numbers on their letter plate are sending me a message.
Oh, interesting.
Every single time.
There you go. So you can snap out of the anger. You can snap out of the anger and be back into gratefulness. Oh, thanks, universe, for showing me that.
Exactly. Every single time.
Yeah.
So we can snap back into who we really are. When that situation happens now, if it's not a number plate message, I essentially just do the Ho'oponopono forgiveness prayer right away.
Yeah.
And
helps you.
And that's what it's about. It's not about not being a human being and having all of the desires and needs and crankiness and anger come up. It's about letting it come and then letting it go.
and having the tools to do that. I think it's really important. That's why courses and mentors and that are important, because you learn the tools. So
yes, and someone walking, holding your hand, and just kind of lifting you up when you need it in those moments.
Yeah. We can talk for hours. I love these conversations, and you've got to also, when you're on this spiritual journey, you need to find the right people to be around as well. It's really important because you and I can't have these conversations with everyone. It's not flowing. It's some people are very in the physical and they're not up to conversations like this. And this is what drives me. I love these conversations.
Me too.
So we could talk for hours here, but can I mention the Holistic Bliss magazine for a few minutes?
Absolutely.
So I've got it here. Now, for everybody listening, you going to? Holistic Bliss is an amazing health and wellness magazine. And Anne, last month, has organised an absolutely beautiful section called the Enlightened Changemakers. And we're in the middle spread.
We're so blessed, and I'm so grateful to Vanessa, the editor and owner of the magazine.
Look at us all there. So this is a group of people, and when you get the magazine, there's also a beautiful page here, full page that, this way, a full page that Anne has with questions and answers, and she also on the web version, on the internet version, digital, on the digital version, she has a video as well on their website every month. So go out and either grab a physical copy of this or subscribe online to check it out, because Anne really is a wealth of knowledge. And then you can also check out the beautiful people that she's brought together in this group. Now, the reason you've brought everybody together is, and the next page too, that's right.
There's also, these are spotlight spots. So every person that's involved in the Enlightened Changemaker group will be spotlighted. So little information about them and how they're being the change they want to see in the world. And of course, these are our other two beautiful change makers.
Yes, it's a beautiful, it's just a really beautiful contribution that you've created here for not just, the group of us that are in it, but for everybody. Everybody benefits from this, because it's, when I open that page, I just feel the energy come out. It's kind of like a turbocharged energy hit, because we're all creating change in different ways.
But we're doing it collaboratively, and we're doing it in full support. And one of the stipulations that I had for this was that I was only going to invite people in who I felt could act from a place of non-competitiveness. Because on the outside, it might even look like some of us do the same work. But the truth of it is, yes, we do the same work, but we do it uniquely and individually, because we are also separate beings, separate, unique beings. So the people in this that involved in it that I kind of handpicked have to be people who have lost the competitive thing, understand that we're all one, that there's no competition, that we're all here serving each other's needs, because we are indeed serving our own needs, and just collaborating, co-creating, supporting each other, and also sharing each other's work, because we don't feel competitive. So that I just want to
and I think that's important. Yeah, because it's getting wider spread, the non-competitiveness, but it's still there in some industries and with some people, and I don't like being around that either. I dropped my competitiveness years ago in the nail industry, but also, and I saw Louise Hay up on stage in the Heal Your Life events, and she said, you know what, we could have 100 people up here on stage all saying the same thing.
But the person hearing it will hear it differently.
Yes, and she said the more people I can have up here saying the same thing, the more people in the audience that are going to hear it. And I'm like, yes, it is so true.
Exactly.
And
I love that.
Yeah, so I just love that we've come together, and of course for the next 13 weeks I will be highlighting all of the change makers here on this show. I'm super excited.
Well, look, I am so grateful because I have this vision for enlightened change makers, and you're making it real.
Oh,
For
wonderful.
me, you know what I mean? You've gone,
Yeah.
there's no competition. I have this thing that I do. I'm going to bring all of these people that I've just come into connection with and am collaborating with for this thing. I'm going to also play a part in that. And I'm so grateful for that, Trish.
Oh, it's so much fun though, because I've never met any of them, and now we're all friends, and they'll all be coming on here live. So promoting them, what they do, getting to their audience, and then also, we can promote the Enlightened Change Makers as a group as well, and the Holistic magazine, of course.
And I'm super excited to actually to watch the interviews and to learn even more about them. I mean, obviously I know some about them, but I know more energetic stuff about them than I do real world stuff. Yeah. So it'll be wonderful to actually experience that and hear that. So
it will. And also when you collaborate with people, you also get different ideas and new concepts and new ways of understanding things to different groups of people, and I really like that too, because the more people that can hear something different, the more change that's going to create in them and then
absolutely out. Absolutely. And I live by the truth, and I know it. There's no doubt for me that we are all walking each other home.
Yeah.
And this is just part of that.
Yeah, we're all definitely meant to be here at this time, exactly where we are.
You can't get it wrong.
That's it. Oh, thank you so much for being here. Once again, it's just been amazing. So reach out, just make a comment on the video or tag yourself or put your hand up or whatever it is. Reach out and we'll come and comment and show you where you can connect with her. She's an amazing channel as well. So check out all of Anne's work on her pages here at Facebook, and get involved, join her groups and her communities, and you will not be disappointed. Always something new. Always something new coming from you. It's never boring.
Well, it gets boring for me. That's why there's new stuff. Because I'm saying, universe or me, the great me, what's next?
What's next? I'm the same. Yeah. Oh, done that. What's next?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for watching. I look forward to seeing you next week on Trish Rock TV. Bye for now.
Thank you.